All right. Again, welcome everybody to Anacapa Brewing Company on Tuesday, March 20th, last day of winter. Yeah! I don't want to have this as me like talking to everybody. I hope this ends up as more of a conversation. I don't know about half the people in here, so I think you're in for a treat. I hope you're in for a treat. I hope you like what you hear. It is the release of a book I've been working on for about 3 to 4 years now. It's called Not So Simple: Observations on Poverty and People. Written at that table right there, that table, over at Palermo's, all throughout Ventura. It's a project I'm super proud of. It's surreal to be standing up here right now, to be honest, because writing is so solitary. You sit by yourself, and it's really neat tonight to just have friends, no family per se, but I feel like there's a lot of family here, people that you're just close to. So thanks everybody for coming out, and we're gonna just jump right in. So when I heard the weather was gonna be a little down, it was kind of interesting because this is a book about underdogs. It's a book about optimism and resiliency. And tonight, our community is about to be tested once more about the resiliency, about the community aspect. So, as bummed as I was that I have friends in Ojai that did not get a chance to make it out here tonight, I'm grateful that people here in Ventura, Oxnard, Camarillo, can share some ideas. I have some cue cards up here, some pens. The way this runs tonight is I'm going to do a set for probably 30 to 40 minutes. My buddy Roberto, shout out Roberto, can you stand up, man? Hey, let's give Roberto a round of applause. So this is all of his equipment. I'm a writer, I'm not a musician, so I am equipped with a pen. I always have a book on me, and my headphones are in my front pocket, and that's pretty much all I have for my art. But Roberto came through, got me the mic, got me the setup. So yeah, I'll have cue cards up here. It's a chance for people to ask questions too along the way. There will be a break in the middle for about 10-15 minutes. I am selling books, and this is actually a good chance to say where the money's going towards. So since this is a project about the community, I'm working with Project Understanding. They are located on the east end of Ventura. All profits from this book are going back to Project Understanding. And Project Understanding is a phenomenal nonprofit organization. They do 3 things. First is they provide housing, which is probably the most important, but not always. The second thing they do is they run a food bank. So they help people out that maybe have enough money to live somewhere, but don't have enough money to feed themselves. And the third thing they do, which is equally as important, is they run a tutoring center. So they help young adults, maybe before they get to a place where they don't want to be or they can't escape, and they help build them up and keep them, engaged in the classroom. I should say too, I'm a teacher. And shout out to all my coworkers that came from Villanova tonight. All my students. Yeah. So I'm all about community. And I guess, I've been really secretive of where I teach because, I don't know, I want this to be a project not affiliated with school so I don't get in trouble. Even though you don't get in trouble per se about helping people, but you gotta think about this. So I work at Villanova Prep out in Ojai. And I teach 9th and 10th grade communication and speech. And this project was kind of built around a class that I started. When I got this curriculum, it was pretty bare bones. And I thought about, how are we going to teach young adults to communicate? And one of the biggest things that I thought was lacking in society was empathy, compassion, conscious communication. So I decided to develop a curriculum based around that. And with some hard work, with a lot of time spent, I don't know, just buckled down, headphones in. This came to light, but as did my curriculum. And I'm proud to have Sebastian, I'm proud to have Sixten and Andre, all students that took this class. And I hope, my goal is that they can now change their community, whether it's Ventura, Ojai, Camarillo, Oxnard. We have a lot of kids from China and Mexico, from all over the world. I hope they can take this information back and make a difference. So I'm actually going to jump right in. Oh wait, no I'm not. I want to thank Anacapa. I gotta thank Anacapa. They gave me the space here. So you have Solange running tonight. Solange is phenomenal. She's running right now. She's probably dropping food off. You have Veto behind the bar. Shout out to Heidi, who's over here. Phenomenal. She's not working. She's just cool, and she came here to listen to what I've been telling her about the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. So they're great people here. They've been in the community since 2001, right, Heidi? 2001? 2000. Been holding it down since Y2K. All right, so I'm going to jump right in. This is actually the second poem in the book, and I think it's a great place to start. It's called Real Talk. I would rather be hungry any day of the week than be invisible. 5 minutes before, I actively avoided eye contact with this man my age. In the next year, think of who could be out here. I see new faces every day. Males, females, young, old. Streets don't discriminate. I stand here at 28 years old, and I can't afford to feed myself. Embarrassing, I know. His honesty and stream of consciousness sucked in the spectators waiting for the bus. He was on a roll. I know what you're thinking. Don't give me your money. Who knows what I'll do? I don't blame you. He was saying what most were thinking. His dirt-caked hands were on the pulse of homelessness. Sounding scared when he started, he now settled into his stage, the streets, his home. Unsure of how to respond, I snagged the Cliff Bar I was saving for my ride to LA, and he greeted me with gratitude. Looking into my eyes, he professed, I've been out here for 6 hours. You're the third person to recognize me. Thank you. A few more people pitched in, and through that shift in energy, empathy emerged. I'd hug y'all if I didn't smell so bad. We did it. We created a human connection. But before this young man embarked back up the hills of Frisco, he had one more line of which to remind. The people you see out here, that's someone's son, daughter, brother, and sister. Invoking family, especially lack of, is a common concept on the streets. He hit his soapbox, gathered necessary supplies to survive, and spoke of what it's like sleeping under the stars. All right, so this book is it's a book of poetry and photography, and I do a lot of walking. I walk everywhere. I actually walked here tonight. I dropped my car off, dropped all this stuff, but I live right by Cabrillo, so I'm not too far. I walked throughout San Diego, San Francisco, Ventura, Los Angeles, Santa Barbara. And as I'm doing that, like I said, I'm always carrying a book. I'm always thinking about people, and I'm curious. You know, this whole project started with 2 questions when I moved out here from New Jersey. Why are there so many homeless people, and how can we help? And that was it. That was the basis. And then I just worked, and I thought, and I read, and I have some literature up here tonight to give out if people are interested. But it just came from a lot of walking and looking at people and people talking to you and wanting to know your story or if you could help them. And through that, that's how this came. Stories are powerful. I'm a huge believer that art can create empathy, that art can change how people think about each other in a local community. And I'm gonna read this next one, thinking about questions. This next one's called Why Don't They Just Get a Job? And it's something that I heard a lot of. You know, when I first told people I was doing this book, they're like, man, they're just a bunch of bums. They're so lazy. Why don't they just get a job? And I'm like, man, all right, well, good question. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight, maybe why it's not as easy as it may sound. So this one's called Why Don't They Just Get a Job? Everyone has a story. So for every story you share, someone, somewhere can relate. Tonight, it was Tatiana. With her fingers grasping my forearm, she thanked me for thinking of the homeless. She had her own story. I come from Ukraine, and when I was younger, my mother and I took trains to Russia while she looked for work. We had no permanent home, which meant no permanent work. After interviews, they wanted a number to call, but no phone means no job. Her words reminded me of the line that people popularly use to describe their view on homelessness. Why don't they just get a job? I shared this with her. My mother tried. Embarrassed, she asked if she could contact them. in a few days to find out, but it rarely worked. As our conversation closed and I began to walk home, I kept thinking of Tatiana's story. To escape deep poverty, you need a job. In order to get a job, you need a place of contact. When that's not there, you rely on the willingness of a stranger to extend their hand and subsequently change your narrative, all in the hopes of rewriting a story that is never, ever as simple as it seems. You guys have one? Cool. I hope so. This book's been out for almost a month. I've been so pleased with the response. It's sold over 350 copies so far. It's closing in on 400. I hope to sell a decent amount tonight because, like I said, that money's going back to Project Understanding. So far, there's over $1,000 going back into their pockets. Tom Hilton, the vice president over there, he's a good guy. He put me on KTV radio, which was funky. Being on the radio is kind of weird, but it was neat. But all the money is going back to them. Raul is sitting here, which reminds me, this book is available also at Palermo's. It's available at Bookends in Ojai, Bart's Book in Ojai, and Bank of Books down yonder on Main Street. So that was a story that actually came from Topa Topa. I did an open mic at Topa Topa, and then it just kind of came from there. I've heard so many stories from people that want to share once they heard I was doing this project, which gave me a ton of, I guess, a ton of material. I wrote over 100, 120 poems on homelessness. I picked 60 and I put them in here. Some sucked, some just weren't good. Some were too long, some repeated the same theme. But I hope this piece can enlighten and just get a conversation started about what we're seeing. So this next one is kind of about when the Thomas Fire started. And the Thomas Fire is really like something that we probably all know where we were when this happened. It's going to be a memory that we never forget. And it's almost, no pun intended, it's seared into us. It's just now a part of us. And I was actually working on the table of contents. The book was done, so I thought, and it wasn't, because